Hey everybody, I'm Marie
And I'm Kate.
and we're back. This is our this will be our fifth episode and the very last of October, so it's a very special episode. It's our Samhain episode and it's really exciting. We just to kind of recap, we talked about the history of Samhain and Halloween and some magical herbs, some magical stones, and some spells. And now we're going to talk about some other stuff. Kate, I'll let you explain.
Yes, we're so excited to be here. We have a theme for our last episode. We have red lips and red wine.
Yay!
So,
Clink.
cheers.
Wait, Kate, are you in your whiskey glass?
Yes. Oh, yeah. So, I'm too scared to drink a wine glass on my desk because I'm really clumsy and I like whiskey, so I'm just drinking out of my whiskey glass. I know everyone this is not a red wine glass. I know this.
I'm very aware.
Yes.
Yes. And I know I got to be very careful of this. This is actually a very special glass. I have to give a shout out to Jessica. I don't know if you can see, but they etched
Oh,
my name in it. It's backwards, but I know a nice crystal glass. I'm an ordained minister and I married a couple and this was their present. So it's
oh.
a very special glass. Yeah, I love it.
Yes, and I forgot to mention too, also cats is a big reason why I do not, which they're probably going to walk across while we're talking, but that's another reason why I don't have my wine glass here.
Yes.
So it's
You
not
have
just my.
yours and I know. I don't know where Monster is, but I'm sure he'll make an appearance. He can't seem to help himself.
So, are you ready to jump in? I'm
Oh,
excited.
yes.
So, we can't leave this month and this sacred time of year without speaking about the Salem witch trials. I want to acknowledge the long lasting impact of the painful and violent history of women accused of witchcraft and executed in the past, which still affects many of us today on a subconscious level. So, while I was preparing notes for this podcast, the image of the persecution and inquisition card showed up in my mind. So, I don't know about you, Marie, but when you have decks that you work with a lot, my guides will actually send me images of the cards because they know that I know what the meaning is. So they wanted to make sure that we talked about this, about the persecution and inquisition and how many of us have reincarnated at this time, and how this affects us on a subconscious and conscious level. So I'm going to share the message for this card so it'll help you'll understand what I mean by that. So it says, it is believed that many of these women have reincarnated in this lifetime, men and women. They were wrongly accused of witchcraft, labeled as heathens, and suffered greatly due to ensuing persecution. The fear and trauma of that time may have carried forward into current lifetimes. In the past, they were publicly examined, blamed for failures and deaths, and accused of casting spells, when in reality, they were good-hearted people with the ability to see into the future, use energy for healing purposes, and had knowledge of natural herbal healing. So in this lifetime, they may be very sensitive to gossip and rumors. If someone falsely accuses them now, they may become fearful and upset due to the behavior that led to their painful death in that lifetime. This fear may also lead individuals being afraid to openly admit that they are still talented healers and psychics, keeping their spiritual skills a secret to avoid recreating the pain of the past. So, to heal from this, it's important to recognize that in this current lifetime, spiritual teachers and healers are revered instead of feared. Those who have reincarnated at this time have done so because the knowledge and skills they have from previous lifetimes are needed in this world right now. The fact that they are back on Earth shows that no one can harm them permanently or prevent them from pursuing their spiritual path. So, the Salem witch trials of 1692 were part of a much broader history of witch hunts that began in Europe between 1300 and 1330. Sorry, Marie, did you want me to add anything before I jumped into that?
You know what? I think maybe at the end we can talk a little bit more about just like current stigmas and persecutions and stuff.
Okay.
If
Okay.
you want, yeah.
I'll start over then.
Okay.
So, the Salem witch trials of 1692 were part of a much broader history of witch hunts that began in Europe between 1300 and 1330 and continued until the late 18th century, with the last known execution for witchcraft taking place in Switzerland in 1782. By the time of the Salem witch trials, the witch hunting craze in Europe had already passed its peak, which occurred between the 1580s and 1640s. Approximately 3/4 of the European witch hunts took place in areas such as Western Germany, the Low Countries, France, Northern Italy, and Switzerland. Though the number of trials and executions varied by region and period, historians estimate that around 100. Here we go again. Historians estimate that around 110,000 people were tried for witchcraft, with between 40,000 and 60,000 executed. It's just devastating.
It just blows my mind because people are, I think Americans and I don't know, most of the world maybe are very familiar with the Salem witch trials, but I don't think a lot of people know how extensive witch hunts and witch trials were, that they started a few hundred years before the Salem witch trials,
Right. Yeah.
It's just amazing. So these hunts were focused on identifying witches, not just going after those already suspected. Witches were believed to be in league with Satan, having made pacts with him in exchange for their supernatural abilities. They were thought to summon demons to carry out magical acts, transform into animals or different human forms, and attend secret nocturnal gatherings. While some individuals have worshiped the devil or engaged in harmful sorcery, the stereotypical image of a witch from these hunts was largely a fabrication. Just like any other organized group, you'll get your bad apples, but most folks are good natured. They give us a bad name.
Right.
The process of identifying witches often began with rumors or suspicions, which soon led to accusations and, in many cases, escalated to convictions and executions. In the case of hold on, Dahlia, shh, she's licking her booty. Like it's distracting. um, In the case of the Salem witch trials, a mix of church and politics. I'm sorry. In the case of the Salem witch trials, a mix of church politics, family rivalries, and the behavior of hysterical children fueled the events. These factors played out in an environment lacking strong political authority, ultimately leading to the tragic trials and executions.
And in the late 17th century, there were two distinct Salems. Salem Town, which was a thriving port community focused on commerce along the Massachusetts Bay, that would eventually become modern day Salem. And Salem Village, a small, poorer farming settlement with this was about 10 miles inland with a population of around 500. Salem Village was marked by a sharp social divide, fueled by the rivalry between its two prominent families. The wealthy porters with close ties to the merchants of Salem Town represented the prosperous side, while the Putnams, advocating for greater independence for the village, were champions of the less affluent farming families. Disputes over land and constant legal battles were common in this contentious environment.
And then in 1689, with the support of the influential Putnam family, Samuel Parris, a merchant from Boston via Barbados, became the pastor of Salem Village's Congregational Church. Parris had previously attended Harvard College, now Harvard University, where his theological studies were cut short before he could graduate as he transitioned from business to the ministry. He moved to Salem Village with his wife, their 3 children, a niece, and 2 enslaved individuals from Barbados, John Indian, a man, and Tituba, a woman. And there's some uncertainty about the origins of these enslaved individuals. Some scholars believe they were of African descent, and some others suggested they could have been Caribbean or even Native Indian.
And Samuel Parris had skillfully negotiated his contract with congregation, but early in his tenure he sought additional compensation, including ownership and parsonage. This demand did not sit well with many members of the community. His strict adherence to Orthodox Puritan theology and divisive preaching further split the congregation. A clear rift emerged when Parris began insisting that non-members of the congregation leave before communion was held. This practice deepened tensions, and Salem became divided into pro and anti-Paris factions.
Can you do that sentence over? I heard a glitch.
Yes, sorry, I had an email come through.
Oh.
This practice deepened tensions, and Salem became divided into pro and anti-Paris factions.
And possibly influenced by voodoo stories by Tituba, Samuel Parris's daughter Betty, age 9, his niece Abigail Williams, who was 11, and their friend Ann Putnam Jr., who was 12, began dabbling in fortune telling. By January 1692, Abigail and Betty's increasingly strange behavior, described by at least one historian as juvenile delinquency, thank you, took a disturbing turn. They experienced fits, screamed, made strange noises, threw objects, contorted their bodies, and complained of being bitten and pinched by unseen forces. These
Well, with
dramas.
with modern scientific insight, some scholars have speculated that their bizarre behavior could have stemmed from boredom to various physical or physiological conditions, such as asthma, encephalitis, Lyme disease, epilepsy, child abuse, delusional psychosis, or convulsive erotism. So this is a condition caused by consuming rye infected with ergot fungus, which can induce symptoms like vomiting, hallucinations, fits, and the sensation of crawling skin. Ergot is the source of the hallucinogen LSD. And it's reported that Tituba made her witch cake with rye and the girl's urine, which we will talk about in a minute. However, these explanations are less convincing given the spread of the behavior to the other girls in the community and the timing of its onset. Their symptoms also mirrored those of children in Boston. Their symptoms also mirrored those of children in a Boston family believed to have been bewitched in 1688. So, a case described by Congregational Minister Cotton Mather in his book Memorable Providences Relating to Witchcraft and Possessions, written in 1689, which may have been known to the Salem girls.
Yeah, I wonder how true that is. You know, are they copycats? Would they have known about that book? Especially if they were like in a village, not the township, but like, interesting.
Yeah.
If they were copycats in that sense.
Mm-hmm.
In January 1692, the girls in Salem Village reported that unseen agents or forces were afflicting them. So, when Betty and Abigail Williams became mysteriously ill, a doctor, and this was in February, they became ill, a doctor brought in to examine the girls, worried that someone was performing witchcraft to punish the minister and his family. A concerned church member told Tituba to make a witch cake to reveal the identity of the person who was tormenting the girls. And Tituba followed the church member's instructions. She mixed the girls' urine with rye meal to make a small cake and then reportedly fed it to the family dog. When she was finished, the girls accused Tituba of witchcraft. On February 29th, 4 men and 4 girls traveled to Salem town to make complaints against 3 William. I'm sorry. On February 29th, 4 men and 4 girls traveled to Salem town to make complaints against 3 women. The next day, interrogations began. Tituba was interrogated by Samuel and his most trusted advisors. She denied being a witch and swore that she had done nothing to hurt the girls. Betty and Abigail were too young to be witnesses in the legal case. Samuel may have also suspected that they were lying. Maybe didn't want them to be witnesses in the legal case. Tituba was not arrested, but Samuel punished her anyway. And many years later, Tituba revealed that Samuel beat her repeatedly for weeks until she confessed to witchcraft. These confessions would have had dire consequences for it would have changed the entire history of the witch trials.
Right. Yes. On February 25th, two more young women made witchcraft accusations. Ann Putnam, the daughter of church members, and Betty Hubbard, a 17-year-old indentured servant, said Tituba was using magic to hurt them with the help of 2 other women, Sarah Good and Sarah Osborne. Betty Hubbard was old enough to be a witness. Betty Hubbard was old enough to be a witness in the courts, and her testimony inspired the community to take formal legal action. All three accused women were arrested on February 29th, which isn't that a leap day?
Oh, it's a leap year. Yeah.
Oh, that's
Hmm.
leap day. I didn't
Yeah.
notice that when we were putting our notes together. So, with the girls' accusations, the men saw evidence of more witches in the community, and the magistrates fueled the growing hysteria. With the girls' accusations, the men saw evidence of more witches in the community, and the magistrates fueled the growing hysteria. Other girls and young women soon began experiencing fits as well, including Ann Putnam Jr., her mother, her cousin, Mary Walcott, and the Putnam servant, Mercy Lewis. Notably, those being accused of witchcraft were no longer just outsiders or marginalized figures, but respected members of the community. The first of these prominent figures was Rebecca Nurse, an esteemed and mature woman, a mother and a beloved grandmother. As the accusations mounted, many of the accused turned out to be enemies of the Putnam family, and it became clear that Putnam family members and their in-laws were responsible for accusing dozens of individuals.
Man, like just because they don't like them or they want to get rid of them, they start accusing them, but then it moves up into prominent members of the parish or
It's that
whatever.
drama is just terrifying.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like if you
So
piss
on
somebody off, you never know what's going to happen. Could be accused of
right.
witchcraft. You piss off the wrong
Yeah.
person.
Be careful of the powerful families.
Yes.
Should I do this or not?
A
You
cloak of
know,
a cloak of invisibility. You don't see
cloak of invisibility. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna leave that part out. We don't need
me.
any. Um, so on May 27th, 1692, after weeks of informal hearings and imprisonments, horrible informal hearings and imprisonments, Massachusetts Bay Colony's governor, Sir William Phipps, intervened and established an official court of oyer, which is to hear, and terminer, to decide, in Salem town. This court, led by William Stoughton, the colony's lieutenant governor, and composed of 7 judges. Sorry, I don't know why this is so hard to read. This court, led by William Stoughton, the colony's lieutenant governor, and composed of 7 judges, forced the accused to defend themselves without legal counsel. The most damaging aspects of the trials was the use of spectral evidence. Testimonies from the victims claiming they had seen or been attacked, pinched, bitten, kicked, contorted, hair pulled, what have you, by the spirits or specters of the accused, which were believed to be Satan's manifestations. Oh, the destructive teenage drama.
I
It
know.
goes deep.
I don't know. I don't know if you've watched Outlander. I think I've been telling you to watch it, but there's an episode of like me. I want to say like half a season dedicated to this happening to the main character and one of her friends because she married a man that the other woman loved, so she accused her of being a witch. And they didn't, and it was all like everyone was the victims in court, and that was the only people that they would listen to was the victims. It's a good example of that is if you watch Outlander.
Right.
If you watch Outlander, you know what I'm talking about.
And
So
again,
yeah,
we'll bring up practical magic,
yeah,
great Aunt Maria, because she was a little promiscuous in the town with people.
yeah,
The women accused her of being a witch. In this case, it was true.
yeah. She wasn't denying it.
Right.
So, as the accused stood in court, their accusers, young girls and women, with whimper and babble in the galleys, seemingly offering live proof of the accused supernatural. I'm going to start it over. As the accused stood in court, their accusers, young girls and women, would writhe, whimper, and babble in the gallery, seemingly offering live proof of the accused's supernatural influence. Those who confessed, especially if they named other witches, were spared execution, as the Puritans believed God would punish them in due time. However, those who maintained their innocence faced harsher punishments, often becoming martyrs to their own sense of integrity. Fear gripped the community, and many who saw the trials as a miscarriage of justice remained silent, terrified of being accused of witchcraft themselves if they dared to speak out. I would be terrified too.
Right.
No wonder witches want to go live in a cottage in the woods and hide from everybody. Mm-hmm.
And only have their animal familiars.
Right. They're trusted friends.
Right. Trusted circle.
Mm-hmm.
So on June 2nd, my birthday, 280 years prior, I just thought that was an interesting
Yeah.
coincidence. Bridget Bishop, who had been accused and acquitted of witchcraft 12 years earlier, became the first defendant convicted in the Salem witch trials. She was hanged on June 10th at what would become to be known as the Gallows Hill in Salem Village. On July 19th, 5 more convicted individuals, including Rebecca Nurse and Sarah Good, were executed. They were hanged. Good famously declared her conviction. I'm sorry. Good famously declared after her conviction that she was no more a witch than the judge was a wizard.
I love that she was able to say that she said
Yeah.
that. So, George Burroughs, a former minister of Salem Village from 1680 to 1683, was accused of being the leader of the witches. He was summoned from his home in Maine, convicted, and hanged on August 19th alongside 4 others. As Burroughs stood on the gallows, he perfectly recited the Lord's Prayer, a feat witches were believed to be incapable of, which caused some in the crowd to question his guilt. Despite these doubts, prominent figures like Cotton Mather, who was present, dismissed the concerns. Mather's role in the trials was controversial, as he both supported and questioned various aspects of the proceedings at different times. On September 22nd, 8 more convicted individuals were hanged, including Martha Corey, her elderly husband Giles Corey, who refused to enter a plea when accused of witchcraft, was subjected to the brutal punishment of being pressed under heavy stones. After 2 days of his torture, he died, becoming a symbol of resistance in the trials. I can't imagine.
So I know, this poor man, and let me explain how medieval and horrid this is. He's elderly to begin with. He should be enjoying his golden years. Um, a lot of times when they're having these punishments, they're trotted out in the nude, to strip them of all dignity. And then they are laid face up on the hard, cold dirt, and some type of board is placed over them, or a slab of some kind. And basically, rocks are piled on top of that board until the uh, person, the victim, or sometimes the accused and convicted, um, succumbs to basically to crushing death and suffocation. And it says after 2 days, he suffered for 2 days, this poor soul.
That's terrible. What a terrible way to die.
Yeah. So as the Salem witch trials continued, accusations began spreading beyond the Salem village to individuals in nearby communities, including Beverly, Malden, Gloucester, Andover, Lynn, Marblehead, Charleston, and even Boston. On October 3rd, Cotton Mather's father, Increase Mather, he's a Puritan and an influential minister, and the president of Harvard. I wonder if he knew Paris, because Samuel Paris had been going to Harvard.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Hmm. Publicly, anyway, this president of Harvard, a very influential minister, publicly condemned the use of spectral evidence and advocated for direct, reliable testimony instead. Go Increase Mather. Like, wow. Yeah. So he argued, the devil never assists men to do supernatural things undesired. When, therefore, such like things shall be testified against the accused party, not by specters, which are devils in the shape of persons either living or dead, but by real men or women who may be credited, it is proof enough that such a one has that conversation and correspondence with the devil, as that he or she, whoever they be, ought to be examined from among men. Notwithstanding, I will add, it were better that 10 suspected witches should escape than one innocent person should be condemned.
Ugh,
He was for justice.
good for him. That's amazing. I love
Yeah,
that takes
I do too, and
courage on a whole other level, because
it
that could have
does.
made him
And,
accused of witchcraft.
Right. He could have been accused. The president of Harvard.
Yeah,
Nobody's off limits, but
no,
he changed the course of the witch trials and actually set up something pretty neat for the legal system that you have to have actual proof, not a ghost.
right. Thank God that now that's like that. On October 29th, when accusations began to target his own wife, Governor William Phipps intervened again, ordering the dissolution of the Court of Oyer and Terminer. In its place, he established a Superior Court of Judicature, which was specifically instructed not to admit spectral evidence. The trials resumed in January and February of 1693, but out of the 56 people indicted, only 3 were convicted, and they, along with all those still in custody, were pardoned by Phipps in May of 1693, effectively ending the trials. By the end of the ordeal, 19 people had been hanged, and 5 others, excluding Giles Corey, had died in custody. In the years following the Salem witch trials, both individuals and institutions took steps to repent for their involvement. In January of 1697, the General Court of Massachusetts declared a day of fasting and reflection on the tragedy caused by the trials. That same month, Judge Samuel Sewall publicly confessed his guilt and error in the proceedings. In 1702, the General Court officially declared the trials unlawful, and in 1706, Anne Putnam Jr., one of the key accusers, apologized for her role. In 1711, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts exonerated 22 of the 33 individuals convicted and compensated their families with £600. The state of Massachusetts issued a formal apology for the trials in 1957, but it wasn't until 2001 until that last 11 convicted individuals were fully exonerated. 2001. That just blows my mind.
Some 300 years later.
Yeah.
Wow. And it took this Anne Putnam Jr. 14 years of guilt to finally say, I was making it up or lie, whatever she said. I'm glad she finally did. Her conscience finally got the best of her, but, not before 19 people died.
Right.
So, the abuses of the Salem witch trials, the abuses of the Salem witch trials contributed to reform in the U.S. legal practices, helping establish the right to legal representation, the right to cross-examine accusers, and the presumption of innocence rather than guilt. The Salem witch trials, in which hunts became enduring metaphors for the persecution of minority groups. So, we want to pay tribute to those unjustly accused, persecuted, and murdered during the dark days of the Salem witch trials. Their lives were taken not out of truth or justice, but from fear or ignorance. Some other words that I won't say. Many of us who feel a deep calling to witchcraft, the healing arts, along with a commitment to social justice, sense an almost haunting connection to those suffered during this time. It's as though we might have walked those paths before, perhaps living in those turbulent times and now returning to heal the wounds of the past and maybe tie up karmic loose ends.
Mm-hmm. And that's why it's so important to live our truth, to live authentically, because that's how we clear that karma and that's how we heal, by doing what we want to do, letting go of outdated beliefs and fear. A lot of those fears you carry from different lifetimes. So in honor of
and people who were, and the people who did the accusing, the people who had all that judgment and hatred in their heart and fear, they also are carrying it forward in their lifetimes as lessons to clear up.
Absolutely. In honoring these souls, we acknowledge the courage it takes to stand up against oppression and reclaim our voices, both in witchcraft and in all realms of life. We seek to remember and bring peace to those who could not tell their stories, their bravery inspiring us to fight against prejudice and fear. With every spell we cast, with every intention for justice, we are helping to restore balance and release the echoes of that unjust history. Reclaiming the power to freely practice and believe without fear of persecution. On that note, we wanted to talk about the experience of coming out of the broom closet, that moment when you reveal your witchy path to your family or friends, which can be challenging. So, for many of us, it wasn't easy. It wasn't an easy conversation, especially with certain family members who might struggle to understand and who judged us based on their own religious beliefs. Marie and I both dealt with that. People that we love very much. And in fact, we added this because right around the same times we're getting messages from family members, myself specifically, family members trying to save my soul. Now I'm used to it, but it doesn't ever stop. It's to the point now where I know that it's coming from a place with good intentions, usually with certain people. So I just release them with love and let them know I still love them, but I can live my own life. I'm a big girl. So
Can
in
I
this,
say something? I'm sorry. I was thinking about this. Who are they to be judging that you need your soul to be saved? I'm sorry. I'm protective of you. I'm protective of us. I know they love you as family members, as do mine, love me as family, but judgy. You
right,
don't get to judge whose soul needs to be saved.
because God doesn't
Read
judge.
your Bible.
God does not judge. God is all love. And I totally
That's right.
agree with you. And I was angry for a long time and I did snap back. Sometimes I do get snippy if it doesn't stop, you know, but it's to me, it's like, how do you know that you're right and I'm wrong? What if I'm right and you're wrong? So I just
Right.
love them from a distance is all I can do.
That's all we can do.
Yeah. And then just nurture those connections, those people that really love you for who you are, or create space for that, which has been a big theme. So go back to previous episodes. We talk
Right.
a lot about creating space. So in this journey, we found a deep connection with some of our LGBTQIA plus friends, relating closely to the courage it takes to live authentically and share a part of ourselves that may be misunderstood or even judged. So many of us are judged and misunderstood. And I choose, with everything going on in the media and the news, and I choose to see, wow, look at all this change that's occurring. Look at how beautiful the world is, instead of you're this and you're this. Like, myself, I don't consider myself a witch, but if someone has to put me in that category, I would say yes, that's probably the best place to put me, because like you were saying last night, Marie, when we were speaking, you're like, I take what I need from everything, whether it be like you were saying religion, a certain book, so it's so many of us are misunderstood because we're all so different. You can't put someone in a box. You know what I mean?
Right. And long gone are the days of just everything being so black and white. People are, just standing up for their authenticity. And it's like there aren't rules of norm anymore. And the biggest strength is to be vulnerable. And if people judge you and make fun of you, shame on them. But
Right.
you know what? I'm going to clear my plate of you so that I can have more room on my plate for really beautiful things.
Right.
There's just no room for that.
No. And have you noticed, Marie, that when you're feeling your most confident and authentic, that you do trigger some people? Just that triggers people.
Yeah.
What they wish they could do, or whether they really realize it or not, you trigger people that way. And it's a great lesson for you to pay attention to how you react. Be mindful of how you react.
Right. How you react. Yeah.
Mhm.
And, I want to just take a moment and kind of give a shout out to, the social media. I don't know, just this surge, this kind of tidal wave of witchiness and the occult and living differently coming back, and it's with the younger generation. I love when I see like chicks half my age just tatted up, with like every like crescent moons, and they're just in their beautiful witchy self doing their thing. Like they are unafraid. They don't care what people think. They're putting it out there. And I just want to say, like, we applaud you. It was not so easy when we were your age. So if we, forged any part of the path for that, then I'm grateful. But I'm more grateful that it's easier now for everybody. So cheers.
Cheers.
Ooh, talking about this gets me a little warm.
That's how
My
Archangel
blood
Michael makes
starts
me feel
going.
whenever I do readings. I've just been taking
Ooh, yeah.
for my reading, but Archangel Michael makes me feel hot flashy.
Yeah.
Which I asked him to be with me
um,
before, so
yeah,
makes
I
sense.
know.
Hot flash.
See, and that's something else. Kate and I, if you know us at all, if you've read the books, if you've been on our YouTube channel, which is Mindful Magic Channel, excuse me, wine, you'll see that we really subscribe to working with the archangels, working with Jesus, working with Mother Mary. These are all ascended masters in their own right, and they're important, and they are not just relegated to a book or a particular religion. They are there for everybody. Yeah, Kate?
Yes, absolutely. They're non-denominational. So I agree. And you have that close connection with Aphrodite. I have a Krishna statue that I keep by my desk. And my daughter said, I'm drawn to this. Can I use it? And she's asked me, and I said, that's Krishna. Krishna will help you solve problems. And I don't remember how I said it because she's 5. But I said, basically, Krishna will help you get through obstacles, weave through obstacles. And so she has had her in her room for a couple days. And I don't know why she needs her, but she does. But that energy, and everyone has access to it. And
That's so
just the
sweet.
intention, setting the intention to connect, and any ascended master that you're drawn to, there's a reason for that. And you should absolutely do research and figure out what it is, what they specialize in. And I guarantee it's something that you need, or guidance that they want to give you.
And right. Yeah, because they are there. And we, I have to emphasize, talking about coming out of the broom closet. It was hard for my dad after kind of knowing my beliefs for some 30 odd years. He just decided to get mad at me for it and didn't talk to me for like 2 years. And it may have had something to do with early onset Alzheimer's. I mean, I would like to believe that than actually, having some judgment against me. But I remember writing him a letter decades ago saying, Dad, I need you to know that regardless of you being a Christian and me just doing my own thing, you have to know how, like, I am 100% with God, that God source. And I don't like using the word God because it brings about all the organized religion that I'm just not too down with, for many reasons. And we can talk about that another time, but it's all one thing anyway. It's
Right.
just a word for the same thing,
Yeah. Source,
because there
universe,
is no
God.
devil or darkness.
I
Oh,
agree.
sorry. What was that?
Yeah, I was saying source, universe, spirit, God. To me, it's all the same.
It's all one thing. Every religion has a different word for the same thing. So let's think about that. And there is no darkness in our craft.
No.
That is nothing that I will ever let into even my home. We go on here in Hawaii, we have paranormal investigator groups, and, we go in to fight the darkness. There is nothing like that here. Did you just get an email
Mm-hmm.
or something, Kate?
Yes.
Did something just come in on your phone?
Yes. For a split second. Did you hear it?
Oh, no, yeah. You know what? I think that's the noise that I'm having to edit out. Are you able to put like do not disturb or something
I'll
so
do
it
that.
doesn't buzz?
I
Okay.
1 second.
Oh, I'm glad I at least figured it out because that that's been like that glitchy. It's almost like this really metallic sound, but now that I hear it, that's what it is.
Okay, hold on. Let me see.
Yeah,
I gotta figure out how to put it on.
which is
Do
because
not.
I was gonna I was gonna get the chat support people on, like, why is this glitchy? We've paid for this.
No, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't even notice that's what it was. I don't.
No, I didn't realize it either. But then, like when you said it earlier, you're like, "Oh, I just got an email." Then it clicked. So I'm really glad that we heard it because that's exactly what it is.
I put it on Do Not Disturb.
Okay, right on. Yeah, that will take care of it.
Now we know what it was.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, because that's a hard one to edit out because it's in every layer of the audio. So it's like I have to go in and try to erase the
Oh,
frequencies, and yeah, but good. We
okay.
won't have that. So, um, yeah,
Sorry,
where were we?
you were talking about um I just got off topic too.
Oh, just no devil in the grass.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay. I wanted to add something to that too,
Yeah,
but I want you to finish what you were
yeah,
saying first.
I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah, you go.
I agree with you, Marie, about no devil or darkness. My whole life is about teaching myself and others, my children and my family especially, how to see the beauty and magic in everything. And Rebecca Campbell, one of my favorite, she's a great author, and she does the oracle decks, like Starseed Oracle, Rose Oracle. Anyways, she has a card that's really powerful. It's just, but basically it says, make your life a moving prayer. Like, be mindful of everything you say and do, pay attention to where your energy is going, because whatever you focus on, there's a little piece of a feather floating. Whatever you focus on, that's what you're manifesting. So if you're focused on negativity, if you're afraid all the time, you're going to draw more to you to be afraid of. I don't want to focus on, I can't even watch horror movies anymore. Or I used to love American Horror Story and I can't sit through it. I wish I could because I loved it, but it makes it makes me terrified. But if I do watch something like that, I just put a shield over the TV. But I agree with you. I don't know darkness, and just teaching how to see the magic and the beauty and everything and the love, doing everything with love.
Yep. At least that's what you're going to find on this podcast.
Right. Not that we don't
We're
deal with
coming from a
darkness.
good place.
Yeah. Not that we don't
Oh,
deal with darkness. Not that everything is rainbows and butterflies. It's how you deal with things and allowing yourself to sit with pain and fear, and you know what I mean? Just learning how to deal with things and not avoiding it, but okay, being honest with yourself.
oh yeah. I'm like, I get pissed off really easily. I get mad so easily sometimes. Oh, who's there? Who is there?
What?
Was somebody there?
No, probably a spirit.
Oh, no, no, no. It looked like you were whispering something up into the corner of the
Oh,
screen.
no, my computer screen, I bumped something. So I was making sure my screen was up.
Oh, okay.
I'm
I
like, oh,
thought
who's
like
here with
Danny
us?
came in. I was gonna say hi. But, I was laughing because, it isn't all rainbows and butterflies. I get pissed off pretty
Oh,
easily.
me too.
I'm Scottish, Irish, Welsh, and Cherokee Indian, which is all pretty hot blood. And my husband can tell you that I get snap like that.
Me
But,
too.
so yeah, we're still dealing with our earthly trials and tribulations.
Yeah. And the
Not
F word is my
perfect.
favorite word. So, I mean, it's not all,
Oh yeah.
yeah. So,
Yeah. And me coming from the world of EMS. Yeah.
yeah,
I,
my favorite adult descriptive
mhm.
word.
Mhm, mhm, and you'll hear it on this podcast once in a while. I have to remember to click the explicit language thing before
Right.
I publish. Oh my god, but we agreed. This is gonna be an adult podcast. We're gonna be ourselves 100%, and sometimes we swear like sailors, so.
Yes.
Um, do you wanna share a couple of easy spells?
Yeah. Let's do it. Okay.
Okay.
So, since Samhain is the last day of the Celtic year, we wanted to leave you with an easy spell to help boost your new year. So, this is a time about releasing the old to make room for the beautiful new. This is a spell to This is a beautiful spell for release and renewal. It's a perfect ritual to clear out stagnant energy and make space for new intentions. The act of burning a list of things you want to release is symbolic of letting go and transforming those thoughts and emotions, allowing you to move forward with a sense of clarity. So, you'll need a pen and paper, small bowl of light salt water, and a fireproof bowl. Always be in an area of good ventilation and practice good fire safety. So you write everything you want to release on your paper. Be clear about your intentions to release this and not hold on to it any longer. So being clear and also being ready to release that and understanding, asking your angels or your guides to show you the lesson so that you're not repeating anything. You know what I mean? So see also Archangel Michael prayer for cord cutting. So we have the etheric cord cutting. This is actually on our YouTube channel now. You can go to Mindful Magic channel and it's a quick etheric cord cutting prayer. It's powerful. It's simple. In the past, I've just made a whole list of things I want to release and I say a prayer for each one. So once you've written down everything you want to release, you take your fingers into the salt water and you lightly spritz your paper, asking that those things be blessed, and for your guides and teachers to help take away that which no longer serves you. But not too much water because you want the paper to burn. Next, you light your paper and imagine all of those things that you want to release from. Next, light your paper and imagine all the things you want to release from rising into the air and Next, you light your paper and imagine all the things you want to release rising into the air and disappearing with the smoke. Place the burning paper into a fireproof container before you burn your fingers. Use salt water to extinguish it if necessary. There's also some herbs that you can use to help enhance your intentions to put around this area. So the herbs, the first one is sage. You can burn the sage to clear negative energy, and this also helps create space for clarity and for good intentions to help boost your intentions. Sage clears negativity, but also creates space for basically whatever you want it to be. In this case, it's clarity to move forward after. The second one is lavender. This is going to help calm your mind and release stress or anxiety. The third one is rosemary, known for protection and purification. It's excellent for cutting ties and old attachments. And then bay leaves. I love using bay leaves. You can write a word or a phrase on a bay leaf, if anything you want to release, and then you can burn that for added power. And then calendula. So this is associated with healing and optimism, and it can help uplift your spirit as well as let go of what's no longer serving you. Yes, Marie uses that a lot. I have some too, but not that much, Marie. That's awesome. But you use that so much in your products, don't you?
I do.
So the crystals, recommended crystals, first one is black tourmaline. This is for protection and grounding, and it can help you release negative energy and shield yourself from future negativity. I'm going to quickly say, when you cut cords, etheric cords, subconsciously, if you cut them with a person, they can feel that on subconscious level, and they may try to reach out to you. So the shielding and the crystals really help protect you and give you that courage and strength to say no or keep asserting those boundaries. Next is amethyst. Amethyst is perfect for so many things, but for emotional healing and release, and it also promotes serenity and calms anxiety as you transition into a new phase. The third recommended crystal is citrine, a crystal of optimism and abundance, and it helps you release any blocks and move forward with positivity. The fourth recommendation is smoky quartz. This is excellent for grounding and letting go of emotional baggage, helping you transform heavy energy into lighter positive energy. And then the fifth is selenite. You can use to cleanse and recharge your energy after releasing anything heavy or negative. And you don't have to use all of these. These are just recommended, anything that you're drawn to. And selenite's also good to clear your crystals after this as well and recharge them. So you can place these herbs or crystals around your candle or your little bonfire to amplify the energy.
I love that.
Me too. Simple and fun.
Yeah, and with Samhain being in the Celtic wheel, it's the last day of the year. It's the new year. So what a perfect time to think about everything that's been on your mind and bothering you that you want to change or amplify in your life and get rid of, like clearing out toxicity, Marie Kondo that stuff. Like, write it down, burn it up. It's the perfect time. And asking for help from your guides and ancestors and any, archangels. And because the veil is so thin, it's like they're right here. It's
Hmm.
just they're so close. That's what's so exciting about Samhain is those of us who work with spirit all year round, it's like we wait for this time because things get so clear.
Right. And we're
Right, Kate?
also
You
more
just
open. We're also more
yeah,
open to their guidance. So that clarity, like you were saying, that you in the ritual is so important because that clarity, they're like, yes, I want to help you. Ask for it so I can give that to you.
yeah,
So we're more
yeah.
receptive too.
Is yeah, I'm wondering, I mean, well, more we've got so many thoughts and ideas for episodes to come, but just I'm thinking of all these things I want to talk about, and we just don't have time. There's so many fun things to talk about, but we'll definitely we'll definitely talk about mediumship. We will
Yeah.
have an episode on that.
Yes.
We both do that. Kate's really good at it. And so that'll be, future episodes, so stay tuned.
Yes. Can't wait. The fun never ends.
The fun is never going to end,
No.
ever.
No.
Yeah. So, in a previous episode, we talked about how one of the traditions of Samhain, one of the old Celtic traditions, is, you're honoring your lost loved ones. So that is your ancestors, even those you never met, but those who lent you their blood, DNA, and passed all the karma for you to deal with down the line.
Which we're releasing now.
Hey, thanks, great, 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 great grandma. Just kidding. Not really. Um, uh, it's so true. It's funny because it's true. But your lost loved ones, family and friends, and also your pets, those those guys who faithfully stood by your side, we can't forget them.
No.
So the tradition is to light a candle and put it in a windowsill on Samhain, and that traditionally um, represents that being a guiding light to bring your beloveds back home. Um, and I love that it's just the symbol of that because you don't really need that. They're, in my belief system anyway, they aren't far from you anyway. But I do love the symbol of that,
I do too.
just the intention, to light the candle. So, that's definitely a tradition, and it's an easy type of spell and ritual that you can do on Samhain night, just a private little honoring, um, before or after you go out for your Halloween parties or after you take the kids out for trick or treating and you're at home by yourself. You can even start it early and end it late, especially if you use like a flameless candle, a battery operated one. It's the intention,
Right.
that's there. So, and they're perfect. I'm so glad we have those because we generally don't have to worry about fire safety if we're using the flameless candle.
Yes.
Um, yeah, I I think that that's just a great option because it's like you just don't have to be in the room with it. But so something sweet to do in prepping for this little ritual of honor is just to get quiet with yourself, take a few cleansing deep breaths, and think of the loving memories that you have with all of your beloved lost family, friends, pets, ancestors. And it's really very sweet. And I think they really appreciate like reliving the memories, the happy times. In your mind, you're picturing them at their most vibrant, because that's how they want to be remembered anyway. They don't want to be remembered on like a hospital bed or morgue or funeral home. They want to be remembered in their most vibrant self. And so, um, try to connect with them. And then you have your white candle on a fireproof surface or your flameless candle and light it with intention. light it saying, I'm lighting this for you because I love you and I want to connect with you. And I would really, really like you to try to connect with me. I would love for you to give me a sign, you know? And let's talk about signs, Kate, because they can be so like seemingly minuscule that you might want to pass over them thinking that they're a coincidence, right?
Right. Yes. It takes a lot of trust in yourself to accept a sign from a deceased loved one. I found myself personally. Um, my brother, when he visits, him and I joked around all the time. So he'll send me images of him playing a joke on me. Um, and I'll think that it's just my memory. No, he sends me images. Other times I'll trip over my own feet and it's actually him because he always used to mess with me. If I'm having a day where I'm really clumsy, when I'm missing him, or I was just connecting with him, um, signs like that. If it's sometimes it's just images or memories coming out of what seems like nowhere. That's not always you. That's a lot of times, especially if you're clairvoyant, which so many people are. That's how your loved ones like to send you signs because it's easier for them to just send you images
Right.
than it is to, like you were saying when we were talking yesterday, Marie, about it takes a lot of energy for them to make things happen. A lot of times that's why it's through nature. So, and if you're not sure, you can ask for another sign from your angels or to give them another a reassurance sign because that's how I was at first. I need a lot of reassurance or I need my signs to be very clear.
Right. And you can ask for them to be very clear.
Yes.
And it's so true. It's like when my brother passed, I just wanted him to be here. Like you just need to be here. Sorry, you're not allowed to leave.
Right.
I'm not ready for this. And I saw feathers everywhere, like ridiculous places there would be feathers. And I knew that was him. I just knew it. I could feel it. And on the day of the preliminary trial for his murderer, um, I have a bunch of flameless candles, but I have one on the bookshelf where I have all of my spiritual books, and it hadn't worked in like well over a month. Every time I walk by, I'm like, I gotta change the batteries. It was just time, and I just was lazy about it, and I didn't change the batteries for a really long time. It had been out for a while, and I'm in Hawaii, but I needed to be awake for a Zoom trial thing in California. So I got up early, it's still dark, and I came out. The only thing illuminated was one candle on the shelf that had not had batteries in it. I mean, it had batteries. I don't want to say that it didn't, and it was just dead batteries.
Right.
And I knew that was him.
Yeah.
I knew that was him. I was getting up for him. And so some signs are blatant like that. Others, like Kate is saying, if you even just have thoughts of them, telepathy is much easier than making a light flicker,
Hmm.
but that does happen too.
Yeah. He's here, Marie, when you started talking to him. My whole body is
Oh,
tingling and I'm
oh,
feeling
I'm
in my
getting
hair.
chills.
He's saying that he's around your head, that he's trying to help.
Oh,
Yeah. So right when
he's
you
trying to
started
do,
talking
what is he
about that,
trying to do?
he wants you to know that he's with you and he's touching me and I'm getting tingles everywhere, but he's saying that he's going to be doing that for you. So you can
I have tingles everywhere.
and
Like I have goosebumps all the way down to my ankles.
that's where
Yep.
it started for me. But
Oh,
it's that simple though. Like when you're talking about someone, especially with a lot of emotion, like we have now, um, that they're there, especially right now with Samhain. It's easier.
yep. When the veil is thin.
Hmm.
Yep. Yeah. So, um, light a candle for them with intention and just make sure that if it's an actual candle, you blow it out. It's good to blow it out after midnight because then it's actually the new day and the new year. And don't don't poo-poo the signs that may come in, as
Right.
little as they are.
Right. I agree.
So let's see. Oh, and I just wanted to mention one more thing. When you blow your candle out, if you're using a real candle versus a flameless, blow it out also with intention. When you extinguish it, however you choose to do that, and you've got the tendrils of smoke coming up from the wick, see that as your love, your memories, everything that you can think of that is a beautiful send off. And just imagine that going up with the smoke into the ethers and just send it off with intention as well.
It's beautiful. I love it.
Yeah. So, Kate, I'm wondering if you would feel like pulling some cards and doing a bit of a reading, a
I
live
would
reading.
love to. I actually was hoping we would have time with our recording, and we do have time. I pulled out the Halloween Oracle because, it's the last time I can use it till next year. So let's do the Halloween Oracle. Now, I have to be clear. I will be getting impressions from these cards, but some of them I need to look up the meaning of them because sometimes when I pull cards, I'm like, wow, I don't know what that card means. I have never pulled it. I only use this once a year. So let's see. I'm actually going to clear a little bit because I'm going to create some space. I want to get a really, really powerful reading that everyone that's listening needs to hear.
And while Kate is doing a bit of clearing, I'm just going to remind everybody that if you have questions for us, you want to get in touch, you want to give us any show ideas, anything you'd like to talk about, any questions that you've had from previous shows, please email us at mindfulmagicchannel@gmail.com. Visit our magic community and our Mindful Magic YouTube channel for our podcasts and there's guided meditations on there, there's prayers, and you can listen to our podcast on all of the podcast platforms. So please follow and subscribe. It helps us out a lot.
All right, so I'm ready. So I'm seeing that scene from the labyrinth. Do you remember when Sarah he's trying to get her to forget about Toby, and she's in this beautiful ballroom, and as the world falls down is playing. I don't remember the meaning of that song. I'd really have to stop and but I'm seeing that for some reason, which is one of my favorite movies. I have the labyrinth deck, but that's not why they're showing that to me. Not because of my deck. Well, maybe that'll make sense in a minute. Maybe it's about because she had to pull herself out of the illusion and really be in the moment and remember why she has her goal. Toby is her goal to go home. So maybe when I think about that scene, that's what I think about is Sarah and her pulling herself out and remembering. So let's remember that as we go into this. Okay. Woo. Joy, rejoicing in the present. So this is something that we all need to do to find a way to do daily. Finding a way to infuse joy in everything you do. I just did a reading last night, Marie, with you when we were talking. And remember, this came up when we were talking about infusing joy and to have fun. So this is really hard to do when you're busy and you're living day-to-day life, kids, work, family. It doesn't matter. You have to find a way to infuse joy in all that you do. Like I said in episode 1, create a vibe. Wake up in the morning and demand that this is going to be a great day. Something good is going to happen today. I'm going to have fun. So instead of complaining, find a way to infuse joy. Archangel Jophiel can help you find a way to see the joy and beauty in everything. So that's an archangel. I work with archangels mostly, so that's what I would recommend for that. So joy is the first message. I love that. Vampire, emotional intelligence. So I don't know what this card means. Emotional intelligence. It's usually just okay. It may indicate that you are being drained in a way okay, hold on. Oh, it's needing stronger boundaries. We need to be very aware of what gives us energy in our lives and what takes it away. What's taking your joy? What takes your energy away? We should be aware of needing people to need us and why we invite people like this into our homes, workplaces, and lives, if indeed we have them around us. Developing the emotional intelligence within ourselves helps us defend against this kind of emotional and psychic attack and enables us to foster healthy, equal relationships of all kinds. So, wow, this is going to be, and this is, I'm going into this assuming this is for all of us going into our new year, the Celtic New Year. So, about really examining and going within, especially when we were talking about this is going to be a very introspective time. We're going to be seeing people more clearly, masks being removed, especially with Samhain here. Pay attention to how you feel. Do you feel like you're just creating small chat with people? Something I can't stand doing is talking about the weather. I don't like talking about the weather with people because that means that there's something to talk about usually. Unless it's like with all of us talking, Marie. We love to talk about the difference between Michigan and Hawaii. But pay attention to who you feel like drains you or steals your joy. Because these are relationships that are blocking you or taking up space. You know what I mean? The light after the darkness. So if you've had a difficult year, this is a promise of this is a promise of new beginnings and easier times are coming. So this is a message from spirit, from our ancestors saying, I know things have been difficult. Remember to ask, but also always know that the wheel is always turning. Everything will always turn around. And that's another reason why it's important to be mindful of your thoughts. If you say, everything always sucks, this is so hard, I'm so tired, I don't have time, which I do myself, and I need to stop doing that. Instead of that, be like, I can't wait to see where this leads me. Or I know this is happening for a reason, and I can't wait to figure out what it is. Like, try to switch your perspective of this is just getting me where I need to go. And when you set an intention, like Marie and I were saying, when you cut those cords, when you set intentions, it does create movement, especially when it comes from a place of pure love and good intentions. That creates movement. And when you have people in your lives that drain your energy, you're going to get into arguments with them. Angels and your spirit team is going to help you stir this up and be like, this is what's you need to let go of. This person, find your joy. Don't be around people. Don't do things that don't bring you joy. So good things are coming and a lot is going to be shown to you first. So they're saying that maybe a little bit of an emotional shitstorm is coming, maybe of more than one kind, but there's going to be movement. I'm feeling movement really strongly. And hidden talents. I love this card. This is my brother. So this is also saying that around this time, this light at the end of the tunnel, these new beginnings, this clearing and releasing, you are going to discover talents that you have within. And I'm also hearing from ancestors that this is talents that you've carried on from past lifetimes are going to be reawakening at this time. So it's really important I always say this, to follow your passions and your interests. It might even seem small, like, that book looks interesting, or that store, I'm drawn to that store, or, you're drawn to something. It's important to always follow your intuition because you never know where it's going to lead you, especially different areas of the world, different cultures. Study those cultures, cook the foods if you can't go there, look at images, research the cultures, anything that you're drawn to. So hidden talents are going to be emerging. So nurture that, make time for that. The underworld. One second, Marie. Hey, Danny. Danny. My phone's gonna die. 1 second. I'm gonna grab my charger.
Okay.
Sorry, Marie.
No worries. Oh my God, it's so hot.
It's cold. Underworld. I just pulled this card.
No, it's hot.
Oh, it's hot.
We've got a storm and it's just muggy, like that tropical.
Oh, still?
Yeah. And I turned the AC off just to, for no noise. So it's just still in here.
Well, this will be my last card then. But this is
no worries. I'm totally good.
Okay. So the last card is the underworld. Sorry about my background. You can see. I think I pulled this for a reading last episode. So I have, maybe I didn't. Maybe it was just for myself. But I want to read part of this for you because I can't say it better myself. Should the underworld card be present in your reading, you are being asked to consider exactly what you have to do to transform your life into something you find easier or more authentic to you. This may involve changing course. It may involve trials and tests. Keep moving. Whilst things may fall away, your life may appear bare for a time. This is temporary. Space is being made for which you can create new. So this card was just backing up everything I just said. Hidden talents emerging, following your passions, making space, getting rid of those toxic people, anything that you know is not good for you, whether it be a relationship or memories resurfacing from a painful past. That's just your angels, your guides, your ancestors saying, this is what's in your way. You need to let it go. So that etheric cord cutting spell or prayer is really, really helpful. And then finding your joy. No matter what, find a way to experience joy each day. And I said this in one of the other episodes. If I'm having a really difficult day, just putting on stand-up comedy at the end of the night, making sure I give my husband a big hug and kiss before bed, my kids, it's important, even if it's for a few minutes. So make time for joy, make time for yourself. And that's what I have for now.
Thank
And
you.
happy Celtic New Year.
I really hope that that resonates with everybody. And, as what happens with, like, if I were doing a reading, Kate would be getting downloads to add to it, and because we just complement each other that way. And same, when she's saying things, I'm being told to remind you guys that, and Kate, I want you to talk on this too, is that it being the end of the Celtic New Year, we are already going into the dark half of the year. Like the sun is setting a minute earlier every day until we reach the spring equinox. Summer equinox is the longest day of the year. So until we get to that point again, but this is the dark half of the year. And if you think about cycles of the season, cycles of the earth, this is when you hibernate. And so I was being shown that to go along with some of your cards, Kate, especially talents emerging, like unknown talents emerging, that we want to let you guys know to give yourself permission to have downtime when it's the dark half, the hibernation part of the year, because this is sorry, the symbology behind it, it represents the introspectiveness of the year. And this is when you do your inner work, your shadow work. And I feel like, reminding you guys that you have permission to have downtime during this. And it's not only permission, but please do it. It's important. Um, because I feel like that's where people they're going to get some inspiration, and that is what you are going to set your seeds to bloom for in the spring in the coming year. And also to really think about the toxicity in your life. Look at your life as a pie chart, or a graph, whatever you want to do, and see how much you think is stuff that just doesn't make you feel good. If it's not elevating you, then ask yourself, why is it there? And just try to answer that question for yourself. And Kate,
I love
I know
that,
you.
Marie, the pie chart. I love that. I want to do that. I love the way you put that. It's simple and
I'm
a,
yeah,
a
just coming.
powerful way to see where your energy is going. And I love that you said the downtime. It's essential. And like I said, of course, our life has to go on, work, life, kids, but maybe focus more on making time for yourself, like you were saying, Marie, journaling, paying attention to your dreams, um, setting your goals, the etheric cord cutting, write a list of people that you want to forgive, people that always yourself should be number one. Forgiving yourself is always very important. And the introspection, what is it that I want out of life? Like that underworld card was saying, this is about going within and figuring out, are you living your most authentic life? So I wanted to add that too. And I'm also going to post these cards that I pulled on our social pages for those listening and not watching.
And we'll also post the little easy rituals that we talked about. And um wow, this was fun, Kate. There was a lot.
Yeah, there was a lot, but this was a really, October. I'm so glad we waited till October to start because we've been talking about Mindful Magic Channel for a long time, and I really feel like October was our month, and there's so much to talk about in October. It's fun, but I think November is going to be really, really good too. I'm very proud of October.
Yeah. Yep. So for our upcoming episodes in November, you can look forward to I know, Kate, we talked about gratitude, right?
Gratitude, the power of gratitude, and
Yeah.
maybe some self care, some recipes. I know, Marie, you
Yeah.
love cooking Thanksgiving, simmer pots, fun stuff. And any
Yeah.
recommendations, anything you want to hear us talk about for November, just send us an email, comment. We love to hear from you.
We're going to talk about obviously any holidays that are coming up and recipes, but also magical herbs, magical stones. And we are really looking forward to questions coming in at mindfulmagicchannel@gmail.com.
And then anyone who wants to ask me a question, I will answer questions at the end of every episode. I'll pull cards for you, or if you just want to comment, you can comment general. You can say, please pull me general. Love anything. I prefer not to do health questions, but any questions you have or areas of interest, feel free to comment or send us an email with your name, and we'll let you know ahead of time.
Yeah. And so with that, we bid you all farewell and have a happy and very safe Samhain.
Happy Samhain. Love you all.
Bye.
Bye.
Yay.
Yay.